Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, whatever part of the world you're currently listening to our Face Economics podcast. Today's May the 2nd, and a little bit after 9 p.m. on a Saturday. Um, Wanted to touch base with you for a short period. I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the things that I've discussed when I was doing my video blog regarding artificial intelligence basically being weaponized. Also, the upcoming anniversary of America, the 250th anniversary of the country, and why I oppose any form of royalty, monarchy, or elitism participating in our 250th anniversary as an independent state. Virginia was a commonwealth, one of the very first state to be colonized by the crown and ultimately the country. So I did talk about why I don't feel it would be necessary for any monarchy or principalities or special elite class anywhere from whatever part of the world to participate, because this is our celebration as an independent country. It's an independent people, and we are just not going to bow down to anyone that does not warrant our respect. Because guess what, folks? Every single Americans, okay, work hard. We bust our behind to contribute to the society, and we do our very best to increase the capacity of our state and country. Why would we want to bow down to people that feel that it's their right and privilege to have peasants? So that's, or subjects. Maybe peasants is a little too strong of a word. Subjects. Okay, so with this said, let's kick it off with artificial intelligence being weaponized in the global marketplace, not just in one country, but global marketplace. These are platforms that utilize artificial intelligence. Typical culprits, basically the giants, the social media giants, are basically targeting the population based off of their education, their purchasing, I guess, characteristics, their political opinions and ideologies, um, and even their schools that they decide to attend. Okay, artificial intelligence is being weaponized against the public. It's going against the individual consumer. It's going against free thinkers. It's going against those that don't comply just because people tell them to comply without providing any solid reason for any form of logic for them to comply. So basically, that's what's going on today. We no longer live in a society or the world, for that matter, in which we have our freedom of choice, will, and opinion. Okay, so if you go against the prevailing opinion that is being endorsed via the social media platform, they will make you look bad. You will be silenced, you will be attacked. Everything that you discuss will be twisted and turned against you, okay, folks, by artificial intelligence. The algorithm and the way, computerized response is now able to change, okay, your character without you even knowing. Okay, so you can be a good person and they will make you look bad and make you seem as if you're the villain. And if you're the villain, they're going to make you look like you're the hero via artificial intelligence. That's happening now, folks. So, yeah, very scary, world, very scary future up ahead, unless we push back and we say, as a collective voice, okay, that we are not going to let these social media giants dictate, okay, our personalities, our characters, okay, our opinions, our thoughts, our worldview, our values, okay, our overall logic. We have to fight back because you know what? If we don't, uh, we're going to live in a very dark, dangerous, and evil world up ahead. And take it from me, I wanted the social media platform and all these giants to be that, you know, light, okay, the beacon where people can utilize their platform for the good of humanity, for the good of mankind. But because the markets and because of the purchasing power and because of the overall size of wealth these social media giants could amass and receive, they're basically destroying society. They're destroying the world and they're destroying humanity as we know it today, folks. And I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to alarm anyone. This is actually happening. And I'm just one of those people that noticed it just because I've always been paying attention to what's going on social media because my platform is the utilization of the social media platform in economic development. I've written books on it. I've implemented it. I deployed my strategies. I encourage people to use, various tools, new world market tools, to increase their overall market capacity and business acumen of their population, and even attract tourism into their uh, country and market. But the more I observe what's going on the social media platform, and me personally as someone who utilize and uses the social media environment quite a bit to deploy my strategy and also use it for my business, um, I'm getting really, really worried. Okay, folks. I did reach out to Mark Zuckerberg at the onset of Facebook before it even became Meta. Meta, as you might know from back in the day, Meta used to be the Meta crawler. It's like the World Wide Web. Meta crawler was basically Google back then, before there was Google. Or simultaneously, Google might have been out already. I don't really quite remember, but I know Metacrawler was a database crawler basically, and lo and behold, Facebook became Meta because that's what Facebook is, a marketplace. It's an economic platform, believe it or not. That's why, yeah, that's why I wrote about the social media platform as an economic development platform. Okay, folks. Um, so yeah, whatever you're sharing on your social media platform, if your narrative counters the narrative of the social media giants that they want to influence the market with, influence hearts and minds with, guess what, folks? They're gonna make you look really, really bad. Okay, if either they silence you or they're gonna make you really, really bad. So just because they're wanting to dictate how society should be, they're trying to architect society the way that they want it to be, which is pretty scary. So with that said, let me jump on to our upcoming Independence Day celebration, the 250th anniversary of America, and why I feel celebrating our independence with any form of royalty, monarchy, or elite personalities would be basically, you know, um, disrespecting the legacy of those that went before us to separate us from the nefarious, evil, corrupt, and very problematic agenda of a monarchy, royalty, or elitism within a society. So, as you may know, monarchy and royalties tend to separate themselves from the rest. There's the monarchs, the sovereign, and the peasants, which are the subjects. The reason for that is because they did not believe, okay, all the way back then, from the very beginning of time, they did not believe that there are equal human beings. Okay. Sorry, I'm still under the weather. I'm still battling this cold, and among other things, I've got quite a bit of stuff that I'm having to deal with. I apologize if you hear me sniffing or um, trying to scratch my nose, uh, just because I have a little bit of congestion right now. But going back to what I was saying, I apologize to branching off to another subject. But what I was saying is that the monarchs did not believe that people were equal, that individual rights and mobility and the pursuit of happiness should be afforded to everyone other than the monarchy, other than the royalty. They are the ones that gives you, your joy and happiness and freedom, uh, because they're the sovereign. Okay, and most of you understand the history of the sovereign from various parts of the world, not just in Europe, but other parts of the world. You cannot go against a sovereign. You cannot go against the king or the queen. Because if you did, if you look at them the wrong way, you speak up, against what it is that they're doing, um, either you get thrown in the dungeon or reprimanded severely or even killed. So, and that's just based off of their will, okay, based off of whatever condition they would feel at that time, their mood. So that's why I don't feel that it's in the best interest of America or our society to include, you know, any form of royalty or monarchy in our celebration. Matter of fact, the monarchs were the ones that promoted racism. Either you're a race that is on top of the class of races or you don't belong. Okay, so there was a separation of races that was pretty much endorsed by all these kingdoms and principalities and monarchies and royalties. Because if you're not within that ethnic group, or if you're not a part of their family circle, you're an inferior human being, or maybe not even seen as a human being. You're basically a subject. Okay, you work, you pay taxes, and you basically serve um, at the will of the monarch. Okay, that's just how it is. That's how the model is supposed to be. They're at the top, glass ceiling. You're at the bottom, and you'll never be able to break through that glass ceiling because you're never gonna be a sovereign. Okay, so is that really the kind of message and role model that we want to endorse when we declared independence? No, we declared independence because we didn't want to pay tax without representation. We declared independence because we were getting gouged by the monarchy. They're taking our wealth and our freedom and everything else uh, because we were under their authority at that time. Okay, and that's why many of the Western Europeans, uh, mainly from Britain, that came to the U.S. and separated the Puritans, the Pilgrims, all these people that wanted religious freedom. You know what? They left. They left the kingdom, the United Kingdom. Okay, and so did other, people from other parts of Western Europe, and decided to help start their lives and colonize America. Okay, so yeah, that's something that I just wanted to share with the public, just because, look, I've been a student of history. I love learning about the monarchy. I love learning about, civilizations back in the days. I enjoy the arts. I love the culture, everything about, you know, um, kingdoms. of this world sparked my interest. It's just something that I've always wanted to learn about. And I mean, I'm a fan of government. I'm a fan of, social development, economic development. I love building. I love creating wealth. I love building, countries and their capacity. Okay. But I do not believe that in the year 2026 that there should be any monarchs on this planet, that there should be royals on this planet. We all have to work. We all have to contribute. Excuse me, contribute. We all have to respect each other regardless of background, ethnicity, or whatever. Purchasing power, education, you know, respect each other. That's what it's all about. You don't just respect people because they're called monarchs or royalty. You respect everyone. Okay, folks. With this said, thank you so much for joining me on this May the 2nd, 10 p.m. on the dot. I'm going to leave you with this thought for now. I'm not going to put on any more music. You see, it gets getting muffled. I don't know what's going on. Every time I put a music background on my podcast, so I'm just going to keep everything solid. And, you can imagine that there's some sort of, music on the beginning and end of my podcast, but I'm not going to put them on right now just because it keeps getting muffled for some reason. With this said, folks, thank you so much for your time. My name is Al Mina, the concept author of Faceconomics, the utilization of the social media platform in economic development worldwide. Take care.